Welcome to the Rantoul Roundup, where we round up the news so you don't have to. In this episode, Scott Eisenhauer is here to talk to us about all things Rantoul, everything that's going on. We talk downtown, we talk airport, we talk a hotel, we talk roads, we talk about the 2 hot topics for voting in November and why you should get out and do it. First, we're going to have some announcements. Enjoy the show. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I finally have him in the seat. Scott Eisenhauer, our village administrator, is here.
I've heard so many tough things about this. Like you're a hard interviewer.
I'm the worst.
That's what I'm not going to say who told me.
Heavy hitters.
Nothing but hard questions.
Yeah, they're just taking them as they come. It was the other Scott. It was probably Woods, I bet, so.
Never going to reveal my sources.
That's fine. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm not liking this weather. I was running up and down the street in the rain earlier chasing a chair, but it's fine.
The good news is it's a little warm.
Yeah.
Like 94, but the humidity's high. So that makes it all better.
It's great. We're lucky my hair's not standing straight up at this point. Talk to us. One of the main reasons that I wanted you to come on. The recent activity that you guys have had in your board meetings with putting stuff on the ballot for this year.
Yeah.
You said some really good things at our Exchange Club meeting that made it a little bit easier for me to understand. And I wanted to start with that. Please explain to us the difference in the two main votes that are going on the ballot.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So we have the cannabis storefront vote.
Correct.
And then we have the districting vote.
Yeah.
But the way that we are voting on these two things are two different ways.
Very different. Yeah. So just so that everybody understands, one is considered a binding referendum. The other is an advisory referendum. That really is the big difference between the two.
And the binding one is?
So the binding one is in regards to districting.
Mm-hmm.
And the question on the ballot will be whether we should continue to elect our trustees by district or whether they should be elected at large. The reason that's a binding referendum is because state statute identifies exactly which referendum you put on a ballot and whether it will be binding or advisory. Mm-hmm. Binding only includes those that create taxes for non-home rule governments. So that wouldn't even apply to us because Rantoul is a home rule government. Any changes to the form of government, and this obviously is a way in which we are changing how the form of our government is being elected, and so that fits into that category. Or the other way is through township changes to law, which we're not a township, so that wouldn't apply. So only the item as it refers to how we're going to elect our trustees, either by district or at large, becomes a binding referendum. So what that means is, on November 3rd, you're going to go to the ballot box. You're going to see on the list of your ballot that question. Should we elect trustees I think it will say, should we elect trustees at large rather than by district? If you want them elected at large, you vote yes. If you wanted them elected by district, you vote no. And that is a binding referendum. So what that means is at the end of the night,
we're never going to talk about it again.
Well,
we will talk about it again.
That I won't promise you.
Right.
I won't be talking about it again, but somebody might. What that will mean is, however the vote count comes out, let's say it's 51 to 50.
Mm-hmm.
If 51 people voted in favor of at large
Mm-hmm.
over the 50, then that becomes the new law.
That's
we
the
will
law.
elect our trustees at large. If it's the other way around, then it remains at district. So however the vote of the people come out,
Mm-hmm.
it is done. That's the way in which. Now, what's interesting to note, however, even though this is the November 3rd, 2026 election,
Right.
it will not take effect until the election of 2029, not 2027.
So there's still time for the people who are in place to finish their terms.
Correct. So those who would then be elected in April of 2027 would be elected for a 2-year term, not a 4-year term.
Okay.
And then in 2029, if this changes, if it doesn't change, then they'll be elected to a 4-year term just like they are now. If it goes back to at large, they'll be elected for a 2-year term. And then in 2029, the mayor, the clerk, and all 6 trustee positions will be on the ballot.
2029 is going to be a big election.
Could be, if the people decide on November 3rd that they want to change the way the trustees are elected. If the vote comes out and it says, no, we want to leave it to districts, then we just keep going like we have been all along and keep moving down the path. So that will be one of the 2 referendum on the ballot. That is binding. Whatever the vote count is at the end of the night, that's the new law. The other issue that will be on there is whether or not cannabis-related businesses should be allowed in Rantoul. And remember, when it comes to cannabis, every municipality gets to decide whether they want prohibitive law or whether they want laws of allowance. Rantoul has always been prohibitive. So there is no type of cannabis business that you can have inside the village of Rantoul.
You want to say that one more time?
Right. Right now, there is zero cannabis businesses, that can be located in Rantoul. If the advisory referendum passes, and so what that would do is would suggest to the board, hey, the public is in favor of some type of cannabis business in Rantoul. It doesn't specify what kind. That will be done for later. It also, because it's advisory, does not become law election night.
Okay.
Let's say a majority of people say, yes, we want the allowance for cannabis businesses to exist in Rantoul, then that has to go back to the board.
Okay.
The board could still say no, although I would argue, and I've suggested to people, if the public come out and say, hey, we're all for it, then it's hard, I think, for the board en masse to say, no, we still don't want it.
Right.
But that could happen. It will still be up to the board. And then what the board will have to decide, what the ballot will not decide, is what type of cannabis businesses you're going to allow.
Okay.
Is it sale? Is it manufacturing? Is it distribution? Is it growth? There are a number of different cannabis businesses you can have in a community. Just because the public says, yes, we're for cannabis businesses, it doesn't mean that all of them will be available in the community. That'll be completely up to the board.
These sound like 2 not to cut you off, but these sound like 2 topics that people will need to continue to pay attention to.
Oh, absolutely.
If they're interested in it now. It's not just a flash pan situation.
I agree, Kimmy. And that's what I've told people. They ask, well, why are these being put on the ballot? One, I think the advisory referendum is because when you hear people make the argument, some will say, well, everybody in Rantoul is for cannabis. And then others will say, well, nobody in Rantoul is for cannabis. And so this gives the community, the people,
the voice,
the opportunity to say, yes, we'd like to have cannabis businesses in our community, or no, we never want to have cannabis businesses in our community.
I'm going to ask you about voter registration in town. Did I hear in a recent meeting that it was barely half of our population that voted?
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. See, this is where numbers get skewed as well. First, you have to look at the registration number. I think our registered to vote number is somewhere around 60%.
Okay.
And that may, that ebbs and flows because now you can do vote by mail and now you can sign up the day of vote. And so That number ebbs and flows, but traditionally, about 60% of a community is typically registered to vote. And then of that registered, how many people actually vote? Usually in a highly contested national election, you can get upwards of 40% voter turnout. With a municipal election, you get somewhere around 20 to 25% voter turnout. But when we talk about 25%, that's not 25% of all of the people who are of voting age. That's 25% of the people who have registered to vote. So really that number is somewhere down around 15%, let's say, of people who are of voting age. And I would argue, and this is my soapbox for a moment, I would argue that local elections are by far more important than any state or national election.
I agree with you.
By far.
Yeah.
And yet voter turnout never shows that.
But I will, being the elder millennial that I am, like I personally wasn't interested in local politics until say 8 years ago, whatever, close to that. So I can understand that that's a thing. So my plea to people watching this is please get registered. If you have an opinion on either one of these topics, I don't care what your opinion is, get out there and vote. We need to know, Scott needs to know, the mayor needs to know what your opinion is on these two topics. So if you're going to get out there on other platforms and say stuff, go out and vote. That's all I'm asking you to do.
And that's the beauty of what we're doing now. I will tell you as an administrator, I'm not necessarily for, from a local government perspective, everything being on a referendum, right? I believe we elect our trustees to do a job, and that is to make difficult decisions for the community. However, one requires it by state law. The board could never vote on the form of government we're going to have. That's required by state law to be done by the people. That's why that's a binding referendum. The other, I think it is time that we ask the community what they want to do. What their opinion is on cannabis. You know, this is a topic that's gone before the board 3 different times. It's been voted down 3 different times. But again, I think because there's always that argument, everybody wants it, nobody wants it. We really need to figure out what is the will of the people in the community. So while I'm not necessarily always for referendums, I really think these two are very important, and I would agree with you. The only way, coming to a board meeting is great, sharing your opinions and sharing your views, always well accepted. But now the power is really in your hand to send a message. Hands of the people. Correct. And if you aren't one of those people who take advantage of that opportunity, then it's hard to object or celebrate down the road, depending on what the board decides to do. Yeah. So get out in November. That's that segment, part of that. Yes, indeed. Now I want to talk about funner stuff. Okay. All right. So when I usually get to see you is out and about. Freedom Fridays went really well. Phoenix did a great job. She did. 90s Daughter was great. I had way too much fun Friday night. I've seen the dancing videos, so I understand. Oh, I got caught. I can't even imagine what security cameras look like. I don't want to know what they look like. But we had a great time. I mean, that was multiple generations of family that came out for all of the Freedom Fridays. And what did we call June? Summer nights. Summer nights. That's there we go. So let's say we're hoping, right? We're hoping next year we'll be able to have them in the what do we auditorium? No, we're not. What do we call that? The plaza. The plaza. It'll be in the plaza. It'll be in the plaza. I'm more hopeful now that they're sod down. That we will actually be able to say that. Yes. So the idea next year is that we will be in the plaza. In the plaza. And I think what we learned and first of all, I completely agree with you. Phoenix did an amazing job this year. And Joel and the kids from the rec department that came out and helped. Everybody did great. We had a nice mix of bands. I really enjoyed that. We had a nice mix of locations. I really enjoyed that. Next year in June, we'll certainly be at the plaza. And our plans are, of course, to do it in June and July again. Good. In June, we try to scale it down just a little bit. It's more 1 or 2 people acts rather than full bands. Some of it's acoustic, and that's just to provide sort of a little nice summer jam vibe, right, in the plaza. When we get into July, that of course is when we go all out and do the big stuff. We are going to be doing the 4th of July event next year again at the pool.
Okay.
So we'll be
Yeah,
doing
it's a
that
good
again at the
location.
pool. It'll be interesting next year because we're going to have to move some things around with the 4th of July falling on a Sunday.
Is it okay? I was
And
gonna
so,
say I don't
yeah.
even know what day of the week
So
it
we
is.
will not do the parade on the 4th. We will do it on the 3rd. And the reason for
Okay, we're
that
gonna
is,
get that word out now
yeah,
because
yeah.
now
Well,
we're gonna confuse a lot of
and
people.
it's so everybody can start planning now for a
Yes.
parade on the 3rd. B, it's to prohibit immediately the feeling by pastors in town to reach out and tell me, don't interrupt my church services with a stinking parade. So
Yeah.
that will not happen. We'll move that to the 3rd. And then, but we also need to figure out, because then usually we do the fireworks the night before. And so are
Yeah.
we going to do that on Friday the 2nd, or are
Well,
we going
it's
to
a
do
good
that
thing we have a
on the
podcast
3rd?
that
So
we can keep
exactly,
everybody
we'll be able to
updated
get all
on.
that out. So
Yeah.
I think what we're going to be doing as it sort of plays out now is Friday night we'll do the pool event, we'll
Yeah.
do the concert, and we'll do the fireworks. And then on the 3rd we'll do the parade in the morning, just like it was a
Yeah.
3rd and 4th.
Oh, and then we can all go to church and then sleep on Sunday.
Yes.
I
See
like
how
the
that works
idea.
out? See how that works?
I think it works.
But anyway, and then moving it around a little bit in July like
Yeah.
we did this year. But I
Which was
think the
great.
one big change is, we had so much fun with 90s Daughter.
Yeah.
And the only way that was made possible is because Maverick Pike stepped up with
They
a sponsorship.
really did.
And so what I would like to do next year is get sponsors for each of the Friday nights so that we can get bigger bands. And by bigger, I just mean ones that have a little more of a following or a bigger, and do that in July. So in June, we'll be able to feature local artists and some of those singles and duos. And then when we get into July, really go out with a little bit more. But do it, of course, through sponsorships by community business.
So in that case, if you're anybody out there who would like to get in touch with Scott about donating for next year, I'll put the number for the village right here where we put everything. So we'll put it there so that you guys can get a jump on that, and we can maybe get a jump on next year a little bit early this year. Get the ball rolling. Since we're kind of talking about the downtown stuff, you're almost there. You're almost there. We're almost there. It's almost
I have
done.
learned so many times that until the last item on the checklist is punched, not to get excited. But, and what's been interesting is, we've been doing a lot of walk-arounds and nitpicking about, I don't like this, and we've got to fix that, and we've got to correct that. Friday night during the concert, I was able to just actually stand in the middle of the street and look around and recognize we've made some really beautiful improvements, right? But the whole point of the public investment is to encourage private investment. And so that's why when people say, well, I mean, why did we waste all of this money? If we get the private investment to incur downtown, then it's not a waste at all. And we're already seeing it. I mean, when you look at what Eric and ET's has done, when you look at what Dawn has done with her space, when you look at what Chad and Marlena have done, you can, and I don't want to leave people out, but you can start to see where people are making those private investments.
There are so many people. Forgive us if we didn't name everybody.
And then
we recognize all of you.
Always the problem when you do that, right? but again, I just want to use those as examples of people who are stepping up, and I really believe there is great space still available downtown. And with that, I think we are going to see more people start to become interested in the downtown space. Particularly when you look at a Friday night and you see all of the people down here and you recognize that we're going to have that a lot in the plaza and then spreading it out. The other thing that we really want to do, and so I'm putting this plea out there for everyone to see now, we want to figure out next year how to make sure that we're tying all of our Friday night events together. So with the farmers market near, at the end of Girard Street, we want to tie the plaza and the end of Girard all together and make it flow. So the look will be different next year because we'll be going down Girard more than Sangamon. But I think it still gives us a great opportunity to celebrate the businesses, to allow parking a little bit further up on Sangamon, which will give people the opportunity then to get closer to all the activity on Girard. So we're excited about all of those things. I think we had a great year this year with the Hot Rod Power Tour coming to town. And of course, next year we're going to have the Half Century of Progress Farm Show.
And we just had the large truck show this weekend.
The truck show was a massive success. Over 200 and some trucks. The parade had 132 trucks in the parade, which was just stunning on Saturday night. They had a great turnout for their concert on Friday night, which was after ours, so it was great. We went 6 to 9 or 9:30. They started at 9:30. So all of that synergy of great events. And again, when you talk about what was going on in town this past weekend, not only do we have some fun things going on out at the complex, but with the truck show, with the concert. And then on Saturday, we hosted the conference swim meet out at Hat Parker Aquatic Center. So again, I think there's a lot of things happening in the community that are super fun and super positive. And fortunately, you are providing for us sort of a means to get that good stuff out.
We try.
Because without a newspaper, not everybody reads Facebook. A lot of things on Facebook, I'm just going to say it, not everything on Facebook positively reflects what is truly going on, or in many cases accurately reflects what is actually going on in the community. And so that's why I always tell people, one, get out and see these things for yourself. You don't need me to tell you how great the weekend was. Hopefully you got out and saw some of it for yourself. But I also can encourage people, when you have questions about what's going on in the village, please call me.
Just ask.
I know it's fun to talk about it at the coffee shop. I know it's fun to get around a table, have a few adult beverages, and solve all the problems of the village. And I don't mind that as long as you're doing it with accurate information.
And it's not a bad idea. I mean, you guys have a calendar. We try to keep a running calendar of events. Like one of the things that we've talked about over the years too is trying to get one place for all the news to go. And we're still working on some things. And
Chamber's a great partner in that. And I agree. We
shout
need
out to Susie, who's standing behind the
Susie, the camera operator. Another one of her hats. Put them on, take them off. But I think where we need the assistance there, look, Susie puts together a great calendar. We can throw together a calendar. We've got to have the information.
You got to let us know what's going on.
And so it's got to be the schools. It's got to be the churches. It's got to be the organizations in town. And so, let me also take a second of your podcast to make that argument or pitch. If you've got events going on, let the village know. Let the chamber know. Share it with us so that we can get it out and let people know what are happening.
I mean, we got a powerhouse trio sitting
here. Look
at
this.
Now,
my goodness. We could do lots.
I feel like sometimes we do lots.
We do.
Let's talk about other fun stuff. You want to talk about anything? You want to give us an update on things you can talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the real exciting news is Hangar 3 sold. And this...
Does that mean they're all sold now?
Not all sold.
Okay.
They're all occupied.
Okay.
So again...
That's the kind of question that comes around is, are they sold or what is the official
so
ruling?
I can go through those. But again, this is what I love about my job. So in 2018 when I came, and I tell this story 1,000 times a day, but it's because I get so excited about it. When I came in 2018, my predecessor set me down and we were talking about different things in the village. And he said, whatever you do, just get rid of the hangars. Get rid of them, sell them for $1. Nobody's going to pay $1 for them, but try to sell them for $1. Whatever you can get, they're worth nothing. Nobody's ever going to want them, right? So here we sit today in Hangar 1. We have Flyover Studios, making movie after movie after movie.
Music videos, all the things.
Music videos, right? Commercials. They've got a lot of things going on. They're right in the middle now of another big major motion production. And so more details on that coming soon. Hangar 2, Maverick Pipe purchased Hangar 2. So Hangar 1 is a lease to Flyover. Hangar 2 was purchased by Maverick. And
they've expanded since they've
been
here.
So you figure they take over a hangar, hundreds of thousands of square feet, and then they go, wait a minute, it's not big enough. Let's add 65,000 more square feet, right? But if you drive by and look at what they've done an amazing job. Of dollars of investment.
The building looks fantastic.
Made in that, right? And then Hangar 4 is where we have Agri-Air Imaging, and so that's 14 aircraft that are all located in that one facility, flying in and out of the airport every day, doing agricultural analysis, which is fantastic. So in Hangar 3, we had the B-52MX,
Yeah.
right? I don't want anybody to say we kicked Chad out. That was not the case of what happened. Chad has changed jobs, more recently, taken on more responsibilities. Things have happened in the racing world as far as he's concerned. And so he recognized there were challenges to what he was wanting to accomplish. And if there was an opportunity for that space to become available for somebody or something that would be just as beneficial or more to Rantoul, he was willing to have that conversation. Maverick Pipe has now merged with another company. With that merger, they have become the second largest in the world in what they do. But they had to make some decisions about where they were going to locate certain things. And it was between us and another state. And they chose Rantoul.
We're just winning out everything.
We are. And so we were excited to win that. They originally were going to lease 35,000 square feet of Hangar 3. As that word got out, more and more of their partners started coming to them and saying, well, wait a minute, is there a place for me in Rantoul? Is there some way I can be closer to you so that the synergy of us working together becomes stronger? That's when we met with Chad. Chad said, hey, look, if this is good for the village, it's good for me. And with that, we were able to terminate his lease and then sell the building to Maverick. So Maverick has committed to initially the first 35,000, and then they're going to build out the entire space. The investment that they made in Hangar 2, they've already committed to making in Hangar 3. So that's just going to change completely the look of that. So you add what's happening there. I'm not sure a lot of people still know. The Village of Rantoul was awarded a $37 million grant. For the Rantoul National Aviation Center.
We talked with Sam about that the last time he was here. Yeah, we're thrilled for Bob.
So the next 5 years, that's going to get big, right? And then the other exciting news, yes.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Because of the construction that's, obviously you saw the light bulb go off in my head. Because of the construction that's going to happen on the airfield, will you have to move some of the events for a couple years?
We are scheduling it so that we will be able to work around all of the different events that are coming in and out of the airport. We may have to change ingress egress for some things, so it may look a little different, but we believe we're going to be able to accomplish all of it without disturbing any of the big events that we host at the airport. The truck show, the farm show, some of those things. So we should be able to do it.
I call that squirrel. Susie calls that pretty butterfly. It's the ADD around here, man. It's real.
Susie's so optimistic.
She is.
A pretty butterfly.
She is. I know. She's great.
And then the other thing I wanted to throw out real quick, because again, this was a super huge win for the Village of Rantoul. We were in competition with other states in
I don't remember if we talked about this or not.
Comb Labs.
Yeah.
And that came right down to the wire. We got great partnership out of the state of Illinois, worked through the governor's office considerably, worked with Senator Paul Faraci, who was a huge help in helping us put together a package that would incentivize Comb to not only remain in the community and keep their 125 jobs here, but to add to that. And so they're adding to that. And they're making a $30 million investment in the community. So keeping jobs, adding jobs, incredible increase in investment in the community. That's another huge win for Rantoul. So again, as we're talking about these things, there are very positive things happening.
We know there are other things that are controversial.
Roads are always going to be a challenge, right?
Roads.
Other things.
We love the roads.
We love roads. We love talking about roads.
Now, while we're talking about roads, I don't mean to throw salt in things. Listen, I'm not trying to be controversial, guys. That's not my gig.
Insert a little note there.
Not
controversial.
Not controversial. But so there was a proposal set to the board for a piece of equipment that has now been postponed a couple of months.
Yes.
Am I understanding this right? That because that purchase has now been postponed, that in turn, unfortunately, makes it harder for us to get roads fixed quicker.
Well, it certainly delays it, right? So the question at hand was whether or not we would purchase a Durapatcher. And what a Durapatcher does it allows us to fill potholes, to dig them out, clean them out, fill them all in one unit, right? But we still have to have the manpower to go with it.
And that was multiple people.
That would be probably 3, maybe 4 people involved in that process. What a gentleman from the community suggested is, rather than do that, why don't you buy one of the pieces of equipment that only has one person, and the piece of equipment does all of the work for them. That way you don't have to have 3 or 4 people doing it. It's just one.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah.
No comments about the idea at all,
Nope.
other than we also have to be very careful about the cost.
Yeah.
And so we were able to rearrange our capital within Public Works to free up some of the dollars by not purchasing other things to put towards the Durapatcher. If we decide, and it's completely the board's decision, we've gone out, we've gotten quotes, we know what the other
You've seen the equipment,
machine,
you know what it takes.
We know what it'll look like. If the board decides, because it's about 3 times the cost.
Okay.
If
that
the
was
board
my question.
decides,
What was the cost?
it's about 3 times the cost. If the board decides that's what they want to do, then we'll need to wait about 3 years in order to make that purchase, because that's how long it's going to take for us to save up the money out of that fund to then make the capital purchase.
Thank you for explaining that. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
So that'll be back on the agenda in August, and
Okay.
we'll have that conversation, and the board will have to make a decision whether you want to pay less upfront but have manpower and payments involved, or more upfront, which actually upfront would be down the way until we save the money to buy it. But then obviously you'll have less manpower involved in that one.
Right.
The other thing I will talk about, because I think people felt it to be controversial, and I will suggest, while I think going into it we felt like this could be a very difficult process to maneuver, it has actually gone very, very smoothly, and that is really thanks to the people's understanding. But the property tax rebate.
Oh yeah, we can hit on that because we haven't.
And so, obviously there was an error made on the property tax. We very easily could have made the decision, and many people suggested we should. Well, just keep it, and then next year you can lower your property tax rate and figure out how to use that money. That was not what the mayor wanted to do. It wasn't what we felt was the right thing to do. So we believed a rebate was necessary. The treasurer's office in Champaign County has been phenomenal to work with.
Good.
We were able to get the information from them. Chris Milliken on our staff was able to decipher and combine the information in a way that made it easy for us. The finance department.
Shout out to Chris on that, because that's hard work.
It was a lot of hard work. And then because of the way Chris was able to put together the information, the finance department was able to automatically bring that in and print out manual check requests. Once we're notified that people have made their first installment payment, then we send that check out to them. And again, I think the one thing that became confusing for people is you make your first installment. The check we send you is for 100% of the rebate.
Right.
We didn't want to go back. We're assuming if you made the first payment, you're going to make
the
second
one. Correct.
We didn't want to take the time to send half a check now and half a check later. That's more postage that we didn't need to go through. And more importantly, for the people receiving the checks, that allowed you then to have that money on hand to put towards that second installment payment.
Right.
So that it was technically less out of your account, right? But that has gone incredibly smooth. Everybody said you're going to be inundated with calls. People are going to be mad. For like the first 4 weeks, I counted, we had 55 calls in 4 weeks. Was it more
mad, or like were they actually more confused?
54 of the 55 were just seeking information. Once they got it, super happy, moved on. One person was very upset, but they blamed it all on the state of Illinois. So I let him.
There we go.
I let him. I joined right in and said, yes, those fools, and how dare they do that to us, and went on. So that wasn't the case, Governor, but we understand.
Yeah, because the governor's watching this episode.
I assume, correct?
Right.
But I didn't want him to get upset with you.
With me.
So anyway, it's gone very, very well. We're down to less than 400 checks that need to go out.
Good.
We're getting ready to process now this week another, I think, 70 that have paid since our
Good.
last. So about every 2 weeks now we're sending out checks. Whereas when it first happened, we were sending out, hundreds
Right.
of checks every day. But that has slowed down. So again, people have been very cooperative. I will say, and again, another plug, if you're having an issue, if there's a question,
Call.
please reach out to me at the number below.
Ta-da!
And we will certainly try to answer any
Yeah.
of those questions. But really, it's been very smooth.
Anything else? Any other good nuggets future nuggets you can give us?
So in a very broad term, there are some very exciting commercial development opportunities that are
Okay.
kind of bouncing around out there. Some that I can talk about, and we have finally closed on the properties that are going to some different people that are involved in redeveloping the base area.
Yeah.
So the Casey's who are taking over the barracks to convert those into a hotel, 140 room hotel, they've already started.
Okay.
So they are cleaning out the barracks. The first challenge was to get water out of the basement.
Oh,
so
goodness.
that's happened.
Yeah.
They've gotten that done, and they've gotten the second and third floors cleared out.
Is that the barracks close to?
Right across the street from Lincoln's Challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And so they're working the rest of this calendar year on getting it all cleaned out and cleaned up.
Amazing.
And then they're going to actually start reconstruction in January.
Okay.
So super excited about that.
How many rooms will that bring?
140 hotel rooms.
Okay.
Plus they've got some other really cool things planned. So I can't talk about all of it yet.
Hey, we're just happy to hear the word hotel.
Yes.
Honestly, that's just been a point of contention. We'll be real about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And this will be the other thing this does is in their design, it's a boutique hotel.
Yeah.
In their design, they're going to pay homage to the base. And
when he says boutique hotel, that means Kimmy's going to spend the night at the hotel and not at the house. That's what that means. That's what that means.
Absolutely.
So it'll be homage to Chanute, which we love.
And I think that's exciting as well.
That is.
Another couple bought the glass building that is across the street. Apparently, it used to be a telephone booth. They've purchased that. That's going to be. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what people at the base tell me. That's going to be sort of a community hub area, and they're going to have some fun things in there. And then a gentleman has purchased the theater and the building directly to the west of the theater.
And that's getting
both of those are going to be rehabilitated and renovated. Right now, they're doing all of the cleaning out. Believe it or not, the theater is still in decent shape.
That's really good. Yeah.
So he is, I think he had one plan for it. I think now he may be adjusting that plan to take advantage of that. And then the space next to it, which is just a massive warehouse space. So again, when we talk about exciting things happen right now, if you take all of the habitable buildings in the base area, 95% of those are occupied, either sold or leased. That's incredible. That hasn't happened since 1993 when the base closed. Even some of the uninhabitable buildings now, like the ones we just talked about, which have been completely uninhabitable, those are now being purchased by investors and being put to use.
Can we talk about the housing going up?
Yes. So actually we can.
Okay.
A group bought what was formerly Seaver Fields, and that will become residential housing. So we've been talking with them about their first steps.
Okay.
It looks like they're going to build probably 5 or 6 to begin with.
Okay.
Just so that people can see them.
See what they look
like. And then, see whether or not they sell, which we believe, based on what's happening in the market, they will sell very quickly. If that happens, then of course they're going to continue to build out.
While I'm on that line, and you might not be able to answer this, but you might. How are we still having a pretty quick turnover on selling of homes here in town because people want to live here?
Very much so. Yeah, we've been averaging right around 48 to 72 hours on a certain price point. I mean, anything from around that 250 and above has been in that 48 to 72 hour. People who are selling some of the uninvested properties, those are staying on the market longer.
Okay.
But that's because people who are moving here with a desire to live here.
Right.
And so you don't necessarily want to buy the fixer upper.
Right.
When it's a lot of fixing upping to
Right.
do.
Right.
They're looking for more of the move-in condition. And so
Okay.
certainly what we've seen with the development on Deerfield and
Yes.
the housing that's being built
Yeah.
there, those are selling very quickly. And I think that's encouraging more residential development to happen here, which again is something that
It's a blessing.
hasn't been the case
It's a big blessing.
for at least 30 or 40 years, right?
Yeah.
And so we're excited about that. We're excited to see it going on Deerfield. We're excited to see it going on the base. And
I can't
think
wait
that's
to
gonna encourage
see what
us.
that looks like out on the
Yeah.
base. It'll be so interesting to see a different landscape, I think
Yeah.
is the right way to say. Just, it's just,
Well, and think about the amenities. I mean, people are always looking for where they're going to live and what amenities are nearby. Imagine having in your backyard the Half Parker Aquatic Center,
right.
the Forum, right? The Rec Admin building,
I was like, it's all right
the
there.
airport,
Yeah.
right? If you're a nut like me and want to watch planes come in and out.
Wouldn't it be cool if we became a regional airport someday?
That's tricky, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I would be more excited about, very honestly. I mean, Willard is in that arena.
Right.
They're competing for that arena.
Right.
We get that. I would love to see us become a training facility.
That would be fun.
A place where jets come in and out. A place where pilots recognize they can come in and out of our airport without the competition of regional aircraft in their way.
I like that idea too. Thank you for explaining that a little bit.
And one of the ways that we're really working towards that is right now, if you want to fuel up,
I was going to say the gas situation.
You have to come in sometime between 8 and 4, Monday through Friday. That's the only time you can gas up at our airport. That will change in August or September when the self-serve fueling station is put in.
Crazy.
So just like you do with a car now, right? Pilots will fly in, they'll fill it up themselves, they'll use their credit card to, just like we do at a gas pump, and then they can either take off and go, or what we also allow for are courtesy cars. So we have expanded the use of courtesy cars out at the airport now. So what we hope happens, you fly in, you gas up, you go, hey, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I want a meal.
Right. Where do I go? Hop in the courtesy car, go around town, eat at a restaurant, maybe go, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was other things to do, right? And then hang out in the community for a little bit. That will increase traffic a lot once we get into self-serve. So if we can set ourselves up more as that easy airport to get in and out of, but what I can tell you is with the resurfacing of both runways that we've done and with the work that we're going to be doing on reconstructing the airport, it is set up now for jets.
Okay. Well,
and that's big because corporations in the community and around the area want jet access. Flyover Studios now will have the ability for actors to fly in.
I was going to say, this is where he's talking about celebrities, people. He's talking about celebrities.
I'm trying to do it subtly, but yes.
Kim's not. Kim's like, here's a celebrity.
She's throwing it out.
But how cool is that, though, that they're coming to our community to do their work? And
so while I understand people always say, hey, let's go out and get the reality of it is, we, for our size, can have a much more successful airport by being more inviting to those smaller aircrafts. And if there's any way to become a training facility to set up, some type of partnership with an educational facility in the area that might have an aviation program and have that in and out of our airport.
Are we talking it into fruition then? We're speaking
I
it
am
into
just
existence.
sort of throwing it out there into Kimmy world and hoping that somebody out there grabs onto it
and gives us a
says,
call.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Would you, since we're in that vein, how are we doing on time, Susie? Oh my God. 43 minutes. If you're still watching, you're doing great. Dang. But if there was anything else that you would wish to see for this community that has not already been talked about, do you have in the back of your mind wish list?
I think there are opportunities to partner with universities that we have not fully examined.
Yeah.
And the research park at the University of Illinois is phenomenal, and it's great. I think there's a way for us to become a mini research park.
I don't disagree with
And
you
it
at
doesn't
all.
necessarily, although I think there's great synergy with what we're doing through the University of Illinois with the Center for Transportation and with some of the other partnerships that we have, but we're also very close to Purdue. We're very close to Illinois State. And these, I think, are partnerships we have not fully examined. So my goal coming up in the next year really is to reach out more to some of those opportunities to see. Ernest Ag is a great story for our community. They were at the University of Illinois, 2 students working on an amazing idea. The idea worked, and they thought, hey, is there any way to mass produce this? What buildings might be available? And found one here in Rantoul. Well, that has now grown to 2 buildings, and they're doing phenomenal research and development on their product, as well as manufacturing and distribution.
South side?
That's on the north side of the airport.
Okay.
In one of the 2 former buildings, Polytechnics, I think, used to be in those. But they've been able to utilize those buildings. So I think the way Purdue also focuses on agriculture, like the University of Illinois does, there's an opportunity there. And then, of course, Illinois State has some engineering arenas that we've not capitalized on here. ISU also has an incredible film school and theater school. And so I think being able to meld them into what we're doing here so that we can start growing our own talent for Flyover Studios will also be very big.
How cool would that be if we could help Flyover with carpentry and set design and
lighting and camera
all
operating
and
costuming,
all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And ultimately, that's where they want to be.
Right
now, we're bringing a lot of people into the community who have those skills. Their goal ultimately is to have all of that available to them
right here.
So I would say if there's anything that we haven't really touched on yet that I'm looking forward to is working with other educational institutions
and building those partnerships. I think that's great. Well, I mean, it's been almost an hour, so I should probably
longest podcast in history.
No, it's definitely not mine. Maybe
it's the 3-part series.
I mean, it could be 12 parts of this. But thank you so much for coming on.
Loved it. I mean, have me on anytime.
Oh, he said that. Did you guys hear that? So I'm just going to start alternating between you and Sam. I'll be like, who wants to come hang out with me? Absolutely. But you guys do a great job. I will say thank you guys for the support. You and Sam have been very supportive of this podcast and helping me get the word out. And you guys know that I'm here for the positive stuff and to make sure that we reinforce that information to look through the dark. And I just really appreciate you guys having my back on that and working with Susie, and it's been great. And so it's been
great partnerships. No question about it. And you guys are a lot of fun. So
that helps too. We're a hoot. That's for sure. Well, thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the show, everybody. We hope you enjoyed it. Scott's always a fun time. Don't forget, if you have announcements that you want us to plug, please send them our way. Reach out to Susie, reach out to me, reach out to Scott. Like Scott said, we're all trying to get a combined calendar together so that everybody knows what's going on in town. It's going to take a little bit of effort, but I think we can do that. Hope you have a great one. We'll see you in a couple weeks.